All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthony Dutra, Technical Marketing Engineer here at HPE, and I couldn't be more excited to welcome you all to today's session. Joining me is TierPoint's own Bob Brown. And for the next 20 minutes, what we'll be doing is really diving into the latest advancements in data protection and more particular disaster recovery. We'll dive everything from exploring the strategies, sort of to design to strengthen your digital defense, and touch on things that are most important to your critical workloads to ensure uptime, keep you safe from ransomware, and all these other great things. All right, let's get started. So, why are we here today, and what's the main problem that, particularly as IT professionals, whether you're inside the data center or just an application developer, it's the fact that our data is under constant threat. Now, this threats really come from just many different forms and shapes. The first that we're seeing a rise of, and particularly with AI making things so easy, are cyber threats. I mean, there isn't another day we don't hear from the news of ransomware attack. Costed millions of dollars of this large organization, state-sponsored attacks going after other governments. These threats are constant and they're growing and not stopping. Alongside of that, there's all these other unplanned disruptions, just acts of God, hurricanes, earthquakes, people unplugging things, hardware failures. These unplanned disruptions also tend to eat at the integrity of our data, and can cause a lot of corruption and problems at the end of the day, costing the business money. And of course, this forever new idea of cloud complexity, right? I don't think there is an organization today that pretty much isn't hybrid cloud first or trying to go that route. Public cloud services have become quite easy to adopt, and there's a lot of learning to it. But a lot of the stuff, for those who traditionally manage data on prem, is still nuanced to them. And even those who start in the cloud and have to move on prem because of things like data governance or sovereignty, there are a lot of complications to that as well. So there's a skills gap. There is a security gap in terms of living things in all cloud versus on prem, and your data, no matter where it is under this constant threat overall. That's why, based on these challenges, it's not surprising anyone that enterprises today are prioritizing cybersecurity. Whether it's the CEO or the CIO, they are looking at their data, and making sure that they are protecting both their investments as well as their people. And it requires a good technology and a good technology partner to do it. The best way to do so and the best solution, in order to combat these many different challenges, is with continuous data protection from the edge to the cloud and everything in between. Right. So what this means is basically having your applications, your data, be available with a technology that can keep them up and running and protect them from these three main areas that coincide nicely with some of the challenges that we see today. So the first, with a continuous data protection solution, you want to be sure that it can do what is called disaster recovery. Disaster recovery differs from, let's say, like a copy of something and sort of storing that off somewhere else, is the fact that it's more operationally efficient. So when you do fail over with a solution like that, there's an orchestration and automation behind it so that those applications, virtual machines, wherever they're running, come back up online at a state and a point in time that is pretty much instantaneous. This is the same thing for a cyber resilient sort of protection, right? Against ransomware attacks. We want to be able to both replicate and recover as well as detect any of these problems, either ahead of time, or if they are happening, we want to be able to do so and detect them in line. Lastly, you're going to want this continuous data protection solution to enable that multi-cloud mobility. You don't want to be stuck necessarily just on premise or within a single particular cloud vendor. The ability to move and do so in a simple format is very much an essence of a very good continuous data protection solution. And that is exactly what HPE Zerto software is, continuous data protection. It's a software only solution that operates at the hypervisor layer, so it doesn't matter what the underlying infrastructure is, that gives your virtual machines the ability to replicate and recover within seconds and rewind basically to a clean instance, almost like a DVR. So it's, again, seconds of state before, let's say, a corruption happened or something went down. All of the failover, failback, or even migration capabilities built into this is automated and orchestrated for you. So it's non-disruptive to what you have to do as a IT admin using this software. Part of what makes the continuous data protection with HPE Zerto so powerful is our unique journal. The Zerto journal basically tracks every single change within the applications or virtual machines that you tell Zerto to protect. And basically, every 5 or 10 seconds, we're taking little delta changes that are going on within that virtual machine and shipping it over to either the secondary site that you're replicating to, if you're replicating to locally, giving you that granular point in time to roll back to. So you are coming back online seconds before a disaster strikes, compared to something that may be hours old. While we're doing this replication, we're also checking inline, detecting for any weird encryption, so you are alerted as fast as possible in the event that a ransomware attack is happening, and quickly that is quickly sort of encrypting your data fast. I sort of alluded to it before, but obviously you're going to a single application within any data center today isn't just hosted, hopefully, from one single virtual machine. It's made up of multiple. So when you do protect these virtual machines with Zerto, you are doing so by grouping them together. And when you replicate them to that, that secondary site and you hit that failover button, they all come back up online at that same point in time, and they are all validated and running back at that state, at that clean, and usually that clean state that you roll back to before anything happens. Definitely, Bob from TierPoint is going to dive in a little bit more as to how they better leverage the Zerto technology from a DR and sort of cyber recovery standpoint. But these are two important aspects of the Zerto technology that not only make it unique, but are the reason that it can replicate and recover so quickly. So we understand now what Zerto does from a disaster recovery standpoint. How does it fit into a much broader cyber resilience story? In the next coming slides, I'll talk about these 3 points individually, but the first way is replicate and detect. We touched on a lot of that in the previous slides, basically talking about this replication that Zerto does, how granular it is, and how real time it is able to and also include detection in the event that it sees something weird within the virtual machines and encryption rate at high volume. Isolate and lock, it matters where you replicate to, and it should be to an environment that has these sort of key features like air gapping, immutability on the storage side, being obviously compliance validated, but also maybe considering, least privilege as to who has access to the environment. Isolating and locking as to where you're replicating to is very important. And finally, the ability to test and recover. It is, again, with the ability of Zerto to non-disruptively test your virtual machine disaster recovery strategy across, wherever you have it set up. And again, when you're looking for a cyber resilient solution, you want to be able to do so as simply as possible. Replicate and detect with the HPE Zerto software technology. You can see those many different checkpoints that Zerto allows you to roll back to, as well as the detection capability, which shows those suspicious writes and tags where Zerto has seen something funky and where a clean checkpoint is. An aspect of any cyber resilient solution is where you replicate to. That matters absolutely. It needs to be isolated, ideally as air gapped as much as possible. It is very difficult to completely air gap something. You need to get into there somehow. And ideally, immutable technology behind it in order to ensure that whatever is written to that environment cannot be deleted or altered in any sort of malicious manner. And of course, enabling zero trust from an IAM perspective, just a data protection perspective, rather a network access perspective as well, is important. TierPoint as a DRAS provider does a phenomenal job of not only helping you with being able to replicate with the Zerto technology, but also leverage it to replicate in a cyber resilient solution that has all of these features in it. So, like I mentioned before, one of the key tenets of cyber resilience and those pillars is again test and recover. So the ability to do so quickly in just a few simple clicks of a button is Zerto's specialty. You can see through this quick little demonstration that you select the virtual protection group that we talked about earlier, select a checkpoint, a specific point in time to roll back to, and start the failover to wherever else you're replicating to. And because of this simplification, it is very easy to test your DR setup, and it cuts down from what could be days of testing to under hours. And especially if you do partner with a DRAS provider like TierPoint, you're able to better take advantage of them keeping you honest with all the tests, doing a lot of it for you itself, providing sort of this extra layer of white glove service to ensure cyber resilience throughout your IT infrastructure. All right. Before I kick it to Bob, I encourage you to learn more about HPE Zerto software. Go experience it firsthand by going to our official website, hpe.com/Zerto, and check out some real customer reviews from some of those websites mentioned there. All right, Bob, I'll hand the mic off to you.
Hey, thanks, Anthony. As Anthony said, my name is Bob Brown, and I'm a lead solutions engineer at TierPoint with a focus on disaster recovery and backup solutions. I want to take just a minute and give a real quick overview of TierPoint and some of the services we can provide to help our clients. So, TierPoint operates over 40 data centers across the United States, and all of them are going to be interconnected with fiber, offering speeds of up to 100 gigabits per second. And all of our data centers can also offer connectivity to the hyperscale cloud providers with a very low latency. Now, when we're discussing disaster recovery, you typically want to find a location that's going to meet any insurance requirements on a different power grid and normally separated by enough distance that a weather event is not going to affect both the production and DR site. You can see that we offer a wide geographic diversity of locations with our data centers to ensure that your secondary site is going to be safe. So, what exactly does TierPoint do? We work with our customers to help them meet their IT and business goals with our flexible and secure solutions. Whether you're going to be focused on disaster recovery or data protection or running critical workloads in the cloud, we have solutions to support your environment, from multi-tenant and hosted private clouds to AWS and Azure. If you're using IBM Power and mainframes, we can provide both production and DR services on those platforms as well. And we're going to integrate security services into any of our managed solutions. And our team offers consulting and planning support, including help with business impact analysis to strengthen your DR strategy. Let's talk a little bit about how disaster recovery has evolved over time. Prior to the year 2000, most of the focus of DR was using tape-based recoveries, which is providing typical 24-hour RPO and 24 hours plus for RTO for your systems. Critical applications were going to typically be protected by some type of storage replication. Then we moved into disk-based backups as the norm. Typically provides a slightly faster recovery time, but RPOs would typically be about the same unless you started using snapshots. We did have solutions like SRM for more critical applications, but that still required some storage-based replication. Then companies started requiring reduced downtime for their critical applications, and software like Zerto came around and really changed the game. Hypervisor-based replication to a secondary site with continuous protection, extremely low RPOs, we're talking in the seconds, and RTOs in the minutes. No need to go out and purchase another high-end storage array for the secondary site, as Zerto is agnostic to the back-end storage. The focus of DR has changed as well. Initially, the focus was on protecting environments against local power outages and weather events. Then we needed to consider terrorist attacks. And then we needed to worry about global pandemics. So we all remember the year 2020 with COVID, but we had scares before that as well. The bird flu was a pandemic threat in the early 2000s that caused a lot of great concern. And now our biggest threat is really around cybercrime and ransomware attacks. You want to make sure that your DR solution that you put in place is going to be able to protect you from all of these things, everything from power failures to weather to a ransomware attack. Anthony mentioned the constant cyber threats that are out there and causing everyone issues. Having a multi-layered cybersecurity solution is going to be critical in securing your environment from ransomware. Modern data resilience plans need to be able to protect you from a number of different issues, and the protection really needs to happen at a number of different levels. Having properly configured and updated security elements like firewalls, IDS, IPS, endpoint protection, proper access controls, and employee training are going to be the front line to preventing ransomware from getting into your environment. Having this solid security infrastructure in place can help stop ransomware from getting into your environment, but we all know the bad actors out there are going to keep finding ways to access your data. Because of this, we also need to have a reactive phase in case or when we get hit with ransomware. Ensuring your backups are encrypted and running on immutable storage, having an off-site copy of your data, and a proven and tested DR program in place will allow you to recover quickly in the event of a ransomware attack. And when ransomware does affect your environment, having proper tools like SIM and SOAR systems help us to be able to determine what happened and respond and remediate as quickly as possible. To help our customers secure their environments and have a deeper view into what is happening, TierPoint has released our new Adapt Managed Detection and Response solution, which is a fully managed service operated by our SOC team. This is going to further help our customers protect their environments. It runs 24/7, 365 to monitor and triage alerts. It's going to be ingesting and correlating data across your entire IT ecosystem. The platform applies AI and machine learning for faster, more accurate threat detection and prioritization, and we automate response actions through integrated SOAR workflows, while our SOC team delivers real-time dashboards and reporting in a single portal. The service continually improves through a combination of human tuning and proprietary threat intelligence. And when needed, our SOC analysts can provide a hands-on remediation and recovery, moving from detection to response to restoration, so that threats are contained quickly and operations are brought back online. Minimizing downtime is going to be critical for all of our customers. They can't rely on the extended downtimes that it takes to recover from traditional backups for their critical business applications. As you can see here, all of our solutions are built on enterprise-class hardware. The disaster recovery targets can be one of TierPoint's multi-tenant cloud pods, a hosted private cloud solution, or we can utilize a public cloud target. And we're going to work with you to determine which of those solutions is going to be the best fit for your particular environment. One of the elements that Anthony discussed earlier was the ability to detect potential ransomware in your data. Using the real-time encryption detection in Zerto 10, TierPoint can alert you of any potential ransomware in the data that's being replicated. Our solution is going to provide an industry-leading SLA-backed recovery time of 10 VMs being recovered every 15 minutes, and this SLA ensures that your environment will be up and operational as quickly as possible. The service we provide is going to be a subscription-based service, and it's going to include all of the Zerto licensing, the compute for the environment, target storage, including your journals, replication bandwidth, and we have two different options for management. We offer a self-service managed option and a fully managed option where TierPoint personnel will take care of the recovery for you, and your IT teams can focus on getting your production environment back up and running. And we can't forget about testing. Testing is going to be a key component of any successful disaster recovery program. Testing at least annually allows you to be sure that you're protected against any potential disasters and ensures that if you are hit with a ransomware attack, you can recover quickly. All of the DR solutions at TierPoint include annual testing hours to ensure that your environment is properly protected. And after testing, you'll receive an attestation of the test that can be provided to auditors as proof of a successful test. All of this leads us into why companies are looking to disaster recovery and backup solution providers like TierPoint. The DR teams at TierPoint are focused on DR solutions and recovering customers' environments. This is going to allow your IT staff to be able to focus on getting your production environment back up and operating as quickly as possible during an actual disaster event. Using a DR provider like TierPoint ensures that you'll always have the technical expertise watching over your DR environment 24/7, 365. And by utilizing cloud-based services, whether they're a dedicated private cloud resource, a shared resource within a TierPoint data center, or a hyperscale cloud solution, you can ensure that you're getting a cost-effective solution that's going to be able to protect your business and is backed with an SLA to guarantee your speedy recovery. And when you pick a partner for your DR solution, you're going to want to make sure that you're choosing the right provider. TierPoint has worked closely with HPE for many years and has been the managed service partner of the year for the last 5 years running, and we've helped many companies in various industries with their disaster recovery solutions. So this is a great example of one of the many customers we've helped with their disaster recovery needs. PCC Community Markets, the largest natural food cooperative in the U.S., serves over 110,000 members with 15 storefront locations in the greater Seattle area. While PCC has been around for over 70 years with sustainability at the center, they're no stranger to growing pains. As sales and membership numbers increased, PCC knew that their on-premise disaster recovery environment wouldn't be enough to adequately protect their IT infrastructure. The co-op knew they'd become more visible target for potential cybersecurity attacks as they grew. This, paired with the increase in overall cybersecurity attacks, made looking for a resilient DR solution a priority. PCC sought guidance from the TierPoint experts. Following these consultations, they strategically chose to embrace a fully managed disaster recovery as a service solution with Zerto replication facilitated by TierPoint. Zerto replication technology allows for the near instantaneous data replication of failover, and TierPoint's managed services team can minimize the downtime and recovery effort for PCC. The new site PCC chose was in Kansas, a region that was far enough from Seattle to not be affected by any possible geographic disasters, earthquakes, flooding, etc. And the encryption detection capability of Zerto 10, they can feel confident that they're protected against any ransomware events. And if your company is experiencing similar challenges, this is the operational peace of mind that we can deliver. And if you'd like to learn more about TierPoint's disaster recovery solution powered by HPE Zerto and how we can help enhance your data protection strategy, you can visit us on the web at www.tierpoint.com. You'll be able to review our products and services, and we'll be able to chat with one of our solution advisors online. You can also call us at 877-859-8437. And when you reach out, we'll connect you with one of our DR experts, and they'll discuss your company's business requirements and the different services that we can offer and share some industry trends that we're seeing across TierPoint. They'll also work with you to set up next steps to ensure that we can help you achieve your goals. And that's going to do it for us today. Both Anthony and I would like to thank everyone for joining, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thanks.